Hello everyone, I Kaustuvi welcome you to another lecture on fineLEARN. Today in this NCERT series on ancient history, we will try to cover chapter 10 from the history textbook by R.S. Sharma. Here we will study about the territorial states and the first Magadhan empire, right? So here we will discuss how the different territories came into being, how they grew into different Mahajanapadas, then we will again discuss about some important Mahajanapadas, and then we will see how Magadha emerged out as the most powerful kingdom, right? So let's get reading. Now, how were these territories formed? Now, while talking about the formation of territories, here we should know that from around the 6th century BC, we could see widespread use of iron, mainly in eastern UP and western Bihar. Now, because of the use of iron, we now have new and improved tools, which could be used in agriculture, and this enabled surplus production of food grains, right? Now with increased food grains, people started sticking to their lands, which gave rise to some permanent settlements. Now these settlements started growing and they became territories which were termed as Janapadas, Now, if you remember while discussing the later Vedic period, we have the term Jana. Jana means the tribe, right? Now, in this period, people started attaching themselves more to the Janapada, that is the territory, rather than the Jana or the tribe to which they belonged. Right? So this is how the Janapadas came into existence. Janapadas means territories. Now, during the age of Buddha, from some Buddhist texts, we come to know that during the age of Buddha, there were 16 very large states, 16 large states which were referred to as the Mahajanapadas, right? Because they were larger territories, so they were called Mahajanapadas, right? And these were formed mainly towards the north of the Vindhya mountain ranges, and they extended from the northwest frontier to Bihar. Right? 16 Mahajanapadas during the age of Buddha. We have evidences of that. Now, when talking about the Mahajanapadas, some of the most important Mahajanapadas or most powerful Mahajanapadas were Magadha, Kosala, Vatsa and Avanti. If you see the map here, we have Magadha here towards the eastern side in areas of Bihar, and then we have Kosala, which is here, then we have Vatsa here, and then we have Avanti, which is here, near MP. Now, towards the east, if we go towards the east of Magadha, here we have another kingdom, that is Anga, which was later annexed to Magadha, right? And then this Anga, they had the capital at Champa, The capital of Anga was at Champa, which was later taken over by Magadha, right? Now Magadha, when we talk about Magadha, Magadha actually kept on annexing different kingdoms and later came out as the most powerful kingdom, right? And when we talk of Magadha, Magadha now embraces the modern districts of Patna, Gaya and parts of Shahabad. So this is where Magadha territory existed, right? Now towards the north of the Ganga, we have another state, that is the Vajji, Vajji, who had their capital at Vaishali. Capital of Vajji was at Vaishali. And when talking about Vajjis, we have to know about the most important clan of the Vajjis, which is Lichavi, Lichavi. Now again towards the west, we have another kingdom, that is Kasi, who had their capital at Varanasi. Now when we talk about the different important kingdoms, try to remember the capitals of these kingdoms, These are again important from the exam point of view. Now Kasi was later taken over by Kosala. So in this way, actually, different invasions kept on going, and then different kingdoms were annexed by some other neighboring kingdoms, right? Now Kosala, this is another kingdom, Kosala, who took over Kasi actually. Now Kosala has its capital at Shravasti, Capital of Kosala was at Shravasti. Now when we talk of Kosala, again two important points we have to remember. First is that the city of Ayodhya, which is associated with the Ramayana, it lies in Kosala, Another is the republican territories of the Sakyas of Kapilavastu, which is the birthplace of Buddha, that also lies under Kosala. Now if you remember, Buddha's father was the head of the Sakya Kshatriya clan, right? So even that area was under Kosala. So when talking about Kosala, you try to remember two places that were under Kosala, right? Now when we go further west on the bank of Yamuna, we have another kingdom, Vatsa, Vatsa, who had its capital at Kausambi, which is near Allahabad, right? Now Vatsas actually belong to the Kuru clan. Now if you can recollect, while talking about the later Vedic period, we talked about Kurus and the Panchalas, right? We also discussed how the Pandavas and the Kauravas, they also belong to the Kuru clan, right? So these Vatsas, they also belong to the Kuru clan, who actually shifted from Hastinapur to Kaushambi near Allahabad, right? So this is about the Vatsa kingdom. Now we have another very important Mahajanapada, that is Avanti, okay, which lay in the central Malwa plateau and in some adjoining areas of MP, right? Now Avanti was divided into two parts. The northern part had its capital at Ujjain and the southern part had its capital at Mahishamati. Okay, try to remember these capitals, the northern capital and the southern capital. Now excavations show that both Ujjain and Mahishamati were important regions, but later Ujjain came to become more prominent, okay. And we also see large scale ironwork and strong fortification which developed in Ujjain, okay. Excavations show these evidences. So in this way, from the 6th century BC, we find a history of struggles between different states, okay, for supremacy, right? And later we will come to know how Magadha emerged as the most powerful kingdom, and it was successful in establishing a big empire in the country, right? So we will now discuss how Magadha grew into a big or a powerful kingdom, right? Now when we talk about the Magadha empire, we have to talk about the different dynasties that were there in the Magadhan empire, okay? And when we talk about the dynasties, the first dynasty was the Haryanka dynasty, okay? These dynasties are very important, and the kings who belong to which dynasty, that is important again, right? So Haryanka dynasty was the first dynasty, and the founder of Haryanka dynasty was Bimbisara. Okay, Bimbisara. Now, Bimbisara was a contemporary of Buddha. Okay, and Magadha Empire actually came into prominence under the leadership of Bimbisara. Okay, Bimbisara, the founder of the Haryanka dynasty. Alright, so Bimbisara adopted a policy of conquests and annexations for expansion of Magadha. He initially conquered Anga and merged it to Magadha. Later, another policy adopted by Bimbisara is matrimonial alliance. Okay, matrimonial alliance with different kingdoms. One of his brides was a Kosalan princess who with her brought Kasi as dowry. Okay, Kasi as dowry. Then Avanti, okay, we talked about the kingdom of Avanti. We had the northern capital as Ujjain, right? So Avanti with Ujjain was the strongest rival of Magadha. Okay, so this also later we will understand why Avanti came out to be the most serious rival of Magadha, right? Now what happened is the king of Avanti, he was Mahasena, okay? And at that time the king of Magadha dynasty, Magadha kingdom was Bimbisara. So both Mahasena and Bimbisara, they actually adopted the policy of diplomacy. Alright, and even Bimbisara, he sent his royal physician Jivaka, okay? Jivaka was his court physician. He even sent Jivaka to treat Mahasena when the later suffered from jaundice. So this is how they came into a diplomatic relation, and then Mahasena became an ally of Bimbisara, right? Now, the earliest capital of Magadha was at Rajgir. Okay, you should also remember this. The earliest capital of Magadha was at Rajgir, which is also called Girivraja. Okay, another name for Rajgir was Girivraja. Now, Bimbisara, he ruled for long 52 years and was later succeeded by his son Ajatasattu, right? And traditions even say that Ajatasattu actually killed his father to take over his throne, okay? Now, Ajatasattu pursued an aggressive policy of expansion, and he went into two very important wars, okay? Two important wars. One of the wars was with Kosala. Okay, and after a prolonged conflict, Kosala was annexed to Magadha. Another important war that he made was a 16-long-year war that was with Vaishali, and he acquired Vaishali after the 16 long years of conflicts, right? So these were two very important wars fought by Ajatasattu of the Haryanka dynasty, right? Now, success of Ajatasattu in these wars actually is attributed to his use of war engines, okay? War engines which was able to throw stones like catapults, okay? And he also used chariots which had an attached mace in the chariots, and this actually facilitated large scale or mass killings, okay? So these were the points which are attributed to his success in these long wars with Kosala and Vaishali, right? Now Ajatasattu was succeeded by Udayin. Okay, Ajatasattu was succeeded by Udayin. So you also try to remember the chronology of the kings. Okay, Ajatasattu was succeeded by Udayin of the Haryanka dynasty. Now, Udayan built a fort upon the confluence of the Ganga and the Son at Patna, and this lay in the center of the Magadhan kingdom. Okay, so Udayan built a fort at Patna, which was at the center of the Magadhan empire. Now, Udayan was then succeeded by another dynasty, the second dynasty which came, it was the Sishunaga dynasty. Okay, Sishunaga dynasty, and Sishunaga dynasty, they shifted the capital to Vaishali. Okay, they shifted the capital to Vaishali. Sishunaga conquered, Sishunaga, he was the founder of the Sishunaga dynasty. Okay, now Sishunaga, he conquered Avanti. Avanti, we talked about Avanti, right? That it emerged out as the strongest rival of the Magadha, right? And Sishunaga, he was successful in conquering Avanti, and this actually ended the 100-year rivalry between Magadha and Avanti. So this was a great achievement of Sishunaga, right? The Sishunagas were then succeeded by the Nandas or the Nanda dynasty. Okay, Nanda dynasty, and founder of the Nanda dynasty was Mahapadma Nanda. Okay, Mahapadma Nanda was a very great king, and he was one of the greatest kings of Magadha, not just of the Nanda dynasty, but of entire Magadha, right? So here we have Mahapadma Nanda. Right? Now the Nandas were so powerful that it is said that when Alexander, during that time, he came to invade Punjab, he was not able to come to the east. Okay, because he knew the power of the Nanda dynasties. Right? Mahapadma Nanda, he added Kalinga to Magadha. This time he added Kalinga to Magadha and also brought an image of Jinnah as a trophy of victory from Kalinga, right? Mahapadma Nanda also acquired Kosala. Okay, he acquired Kalinga and then he also acquired Kosala, right? And he came to be called as Ekarat. Okay, Mahapadma Nanda came to be called as Ekarat. Ekarat means the sole sovereign who destroyed all other ruling princes. He was a great leader of the Magadha kingdom. All right. Now the Nandas, they were very rich. Okay, they were very rich, and they also had a very effective taxation system. Okay, they had a very effective taxation system which helped them in maintaining a huge army. Okay, infantry, cavalry, they also had elephants. So they tried to maintain, or they were able to maintain a huge army. Okay, which because of which they were successful in different invasions. Okay, or expansions. The Nandas were later overthrown by the Mauryas. Okay, overthrown by the Mauryas or the Maurya dynasty. Now, when we talk of Maurya dynasty, actually under the Maurya dynasty, the Magadha empire reached the apex of its glory. Alright, so Mauryan dynasty will be again another chapter. Okay, so that in detail we have to study in another chapter. So now if you can just summarize the things, in the Magadha empire, we have the Haryanka dynasty, then we have the Sishunaga dynasty, then we have the Nanda dynasty, and then we have the Mauryan dynasty. Okay, so this is a chronology. You try to remember the chronology, then also the chronology of the kings, right? Now we will discuss about the causes or the reasons which brought Magadha such fame and made Magadha the most powerful kingdom, right? So there are several causes of Magadha's success. Now when we talk about the causes of Magadha's success, we can broadly divide them into two points, okay, two parts. First is the efficient rulers, okay, the efficient rulers of Magadha who belong to different dynasties like Haryanka, Sishunaga, Nanda dynasties. Then the next is the location or the geographical factors, okay. So these are the two most important points which made Magadha the most important kingdom, right? Now we will talk about these in little detail, okay. So the first cause of Magadha's success is attributed to the ambitious and the powerful rulers of the Magadha kingdom who belong to Haryanka, Sishunaga and the Nanda dynasties, which we have already discussed, right? And these kings, they try to expand their kingdoms by different means, either fair or foul means, right? So the first cause is the first reason or the cause is the powerful or the efficient rulers of Magadha, right? The second is a geographical factor, that is abundant deposits of iron ore near Rajgir. abundant deposits of iron ore near Rajgir. Now Rajgir, if we remember, it is the earliest capital of Magadha, right? We have discussed Rajgir, earliest capital of Magadha. Now since there was abundant deposits of iron ore in Rajgir, the kings were now enabled, okay, they could now equip themselves with very effective iron weapons, which helped them in the wars against the other kingdoms, right? Now again here, another point, we have already told, we have discussed that Avanti, the kingdom of Avanti came out to be the most serious or most powerful rival of Magadha, right? That also I said that we will discuss it later. So here is another point. Iron deposits, as we have said, are found near Rajgir. Now iron deposits are also found near the kingdom of Avanti, okay? Near the kingdom of Avanti, and this benefited Avanti, and therefore it also, Avanti used iron weapons, right? It also emerged out as the most serious competitor for Magadha, right? So the second is abundant deposits of iron. Now coming to the third cause, it is the strategic location of Rajgir and Pataliputra. What are Rajgir and Pataliputra? Rajgir and Pataliputra both are capitals of Magadha kingdom. Okay, Rajgir was the first capital, and later the capital shifted to Pataliputra. So both are the capitals of Magadha. Now the strategic location of Rajgir and Pataliputra is another cause of Magadha's success. Now Rajgir, it was surrounded by a group of 5 hills. Okay, Rajgir was surrounded by hills, and this made it actually inaccessible for the enemies. Alright. And now secondly, Pataliputra, that is Patna, it was surrounded by rivers or water on its sides. It was surrounded by Ganga and its tributaries, and again this water boundary made Pataliputra again inaccessible to the enemies. Alright. So thus these two capitals, the strategic location of these capitals was another reason for Magadha's success. Pataliputra, as it was within a water boundary, it was called a true water fort or a Jaladurga. Okay, Jaladurga, right? Now talking about the fourth cause, again a geographical reason. Magadha was located on the fertile Gangetic plains. Yes, Magadha was located on the fertile Gangetic plains. There was heavy rainfall, there was a good alluvium soil, and this made the area very fertile, and because of which there was a strong agrarian economy growing in this region. Okay, and this strong agrarian economy made Magadha a very prosperous territory, right? The next cause is the use of iron and the rise of trade. Now with rise in towns, with rise in trade, there was also the use of coins. Now use of coins actually facilitated trade and commerce, right? And this helped the princes of the kingdom to accumulate wealth. Yes, they now were able to accumulate wealth in the form of coins, right? And they could pay and maintain their army, right? They maintained a big army, and they could pay and maintain their army with the use of these wealth, right? And the last, okay, a very important cause again is use of elephantry. Now, Magadhans, they used elephants on a large scale. Alright, they used elephants on a large scale. Now, elephants, they were used in, demounting the forts, right? Forts, and also elephants were used to move to places which were very marshy, or maybe areas which did not have roads or other means of communication. They used elephants to conquer those areas, right? So use of elephants on a large scale against its neighbors, it was also an added advantage for the Magadha kings, right? So now these are the 6 causes of success of Magadha kingdom, and this is how Magadha actually emerged out as the most powerful kingdom, right? So I think the video was quite helpful for you, because here we get to know about how the different territorial states have been formed, right? How they grew to become bigger Mahajanapadas, and how Magadha, it emerged as the most powerful kingdom, right? Now, with this I conclude this chapter, and in the next chapter we will be talking about the Iranian and the Macedonian invasions. Now in chapter 11 we will be talking about these invasions of Iranian and Macedonian invasions, like during the same period when now we are talking about the Magadha or the expansion of the Magadha kingdom. During the same period when we talk about the northwest, okay, we talk about the northwest, actually some of those areas were ruled by the Iranians and also the Greeks. Okay, so that is actually a completely different picture from that of Magadha. Okay, so in that next video in chapter 11 we will be discussing about the Iranian and the Macedonian invasions, right? Hope the video was useful for you. Do like and share and give me any feedback that you have or any other comments which you have, okay, in the comment section below, right? Keep watching, subscribe to the channel. Take care, keep learning.